August 18th, 1590. An English ship drops anchor off the coast of the New World. Governor John White wades ashore onto an island he last saw 3 years ago. Today is his granddaughter's 3rd birthday. She was the first English child ever born in America. He finds the settlement empty. The houses have been taken down, not burned, dismantled, carefully, piece by piece. His own sea chests lie dug up and ruined, his armor eaten through with rust. 115 people, men, women, children, are gone. No bodies, no graves, no sign of a fight. Only one message carved deep into a wooden post. A single word, Croatoan. This is the mystery of the Lost Colony of Roanoke, and the answer may have been staring at us for 400 years. Three years earlier, England is desperate for a foothold in the New World, and Sir Walter Raleigh has a plan, a permanent colony on the coast of what they call Virginia. In the summer of 1587, 115 settlers land on Roanoke Island. Farmers, craftsmen, entire families. Their governor is an artist, a mapmaker and painter named John White. But the island greets them with ghosts. An earlier military outpost stood here, and it ended badly. Its soldiers burned a native village over a stolen silver cup and killed a chief named Virginea. The new colonists inherit that hatred. Within weeks, one of them is found dead in the shallows, killed while catching crabs, alone. And yet, there is hope. On August 18th, White's daughter gives birth to a girl, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. 9 days later, her grandfather sails for England. The colony is short of everything: food, tools, allies. Someone has to bring back supplies. He promises to return within months. He will not see this shore again for 3 years. White reaches England at the worst possible moment. The country is bracing for invasion. The Spanish Armada is coming, and the Crown seizes every seaworthy ship for the war. Nothing can be spared for 100 colonists on the far side of the ocean. He tries anyway. In 1588, he scrapes together 2 small ships, and their captains turn pirate mid-voyage, chasing prizes until French raiders strip them of everything they carry. Wounded and robbed, White limps back to England. The war grinds on. The months become years. Somewhere across the Atlantic, his family is waiting, or so he has to believe. When White finally returns in August 1590, the island is silent. The settlement is now enclosed by a tall palisade of tree trunks, built after he left. Inside, the houses are gone, stripped and carried away. Bars of iron, pigs of lead, abandoned cannon lie in the grass, everything too heavy to take. On a tree by the shore, 3 letters are carved into the bark: C-R-O. And on a post of the palisade, in, as White himself wrote, fair capital letters, Croatoan. And one thing is missing. Before he left, the colonists had agreed on a signal. If they were ever forced to flee in danger, they would carve a cross. There is no cross. Croatoan was not a threat. It was a place, an island to the south, home of the one tribe that had stayed friendly, the people of White's ally, Manteo. The colonists hadn't vanished. They had left an address. White begged the captains to sail south. A storm tore the ships from their anchors, and the fleet ran for open sea and never came back. John White died years later, never knowing what happened to his daughter or to Virginia Dare. For 4 centuries, the trail refused to go cold. In 1607, the Jamestown colonists heard a chilling claim. The Powhatan chief was said to have slaughtered a colony of white settlers living among another tribe. But no bodies, no sight, no proof was ever found. Then came stranger reports. English traders kept meeting native people with gray eyes, who said their ancestors could talk in books. And on Hatteras Island, the historical Croatoan, Archaeologists have dug 16th century English objects out of native settlements, part of a sword, writing slates, pieces of guns. And in 2012, researchers re-examined John White's own map of the coast and found a patch, a small piece of paper, glued over one spot, under modern light, hidden beneath it, the symbol of a fort, 50 miles inland, a place now called Site X. Excavations there have turned up English pottery from exactly the right years. So, massacre or migration? The dark version says the colonists were killed by the Spanish or in the raid the Jamestown men heard about, but there is no burned fort, no mass grave, no wreckage, and carefully dismantled houses are not the signature of a slaughter. The explanation most researchers now favor is quieter and stranger. The colonies split up and survived. A few moved inland towards Site X. Most went south to Croatoan, to Manteo's people. And when England never came back for them, they simply became part of the tribe. They married in. They raised children, gray-eyed children. If that is true, the colonists were never lost at all. They told us exactly where they were going. They carved it into a post. We just spent 400 years calling it a mystery instead of reading it as an answer. There is no final proof, no document, no grave, no test that closes the case. Roanoke keeps its silence. But maybe the real story isn't how 115 people disappeared. It's how a single carved word became a ghost story. Because the truth it pointed to was too simple and too human for a legend. Which leaves a question worth sitting with. How many of history's great mysteries are just answers we refused to accept? Before Roanoke, another community met an even stranger fate, an entire town that danced itself to death. That story is on screen now. Welcome to Hollow Ages.